Thanks, Colleen, for the notice there. We'll call the January 7th special meeting of council to discuss budget issues. We are pleased to have the privilege of meeting on these lands, and we give our respect to First Nations people in so doing. Disclosure of pecuniary interest. Any member of council have any pecuniary interest or the general nature thereof? Seeing none, we'll move on. Confirmation of agenda. A lot of policy documents through finance today. The special meeting agenda of council dated January 7th. Is there a motion to accept it as presented? Moved by Councillor Emery. Seconder, please, of Councillor McCollum. All in favor? It's carried. We'll move into staff reports. Amanda, I'm going to guess at who's going to present these, but I think it's going to be primarily our treasurer, Denise. Okay, so Denise, would you like to walk us through 4.1?
Good morning, Council. Thank you for joining us this morning. So my first report, you're correct, it's mostly procedural, and a couple of quick reports for us today. Our first one is our temporary borrowing bylaw. Council will know from previous meetings that, I'm going to share my screen if I can. Not calling. Can council see the report on their screens? I apologize. I thought I was organized this morning and Zoom just disappeared on me.
So we've got it.
You've
there,
got it.
Denise.
So basically every year the municipality, our banking institution on record is CIBC. Every year this is an annual thing where we enter into a temporary borrowing bylaw, sorry. And it's based on what the municipality may need temporarily for in-year purchases in the transition between grant funding and accounts payables and just tax levy collection. It's meant to be an in-year process every year, and by the end of the year, the temporary borrowing bylaw is no longer in commission. We need to renew it every year. It is now time to renew it. I'm happy to answer any questions. Previously, when I looked in past council reports, I haven't seen where reports come to council on it. I like to do a refresh of the report where it talks about how the numbers arise and what the legislation is underneath that, but happy to answer any questions that council may have.
Council, the invitation has been extended for questions. Are there any? This is a procedure we have to do annually. If not, if you're confident in the recommendation, the chair will entertain a motion. Councillor Myers, thank you. Second for that, please. Councillor Haggett, discussion. Good. And $2 million, is that comparable to other years at $2 million, or is it going a little higher?
That's a really good question. Thank you, Mayor Mayhew. So last year, our temporary borrowing bylaw was $2.8 million, and we utilized a $1.5 million line of credit. This year, in conversation with the bank, they are looking at line of credits a little bit more risk averse, so they prefer that the municipality request exactly what they need rather than over request. So this year, when I've done the calculation, the minimum amount of funding that we could ask for was $3.5 million. And when I review the cash flow and the conversations that we've had with council for in-year purchases and with the bank, $2 million is about the maximum I can anticipate that we will need as a municipality for in-year purchases. And once we start looking at the long-term debt refinancing and that type of stuff throughout the year, I'm confident that that can actually be lowered. So it is reasonable. It is, other municipalities go higher so they don't have to come back to council to have the conversation. But I think it's important for this, for 2026, that if we require more from a municipal perspective, that I come back to council and ask for more. So I'm very comfortable with the two, not anticipating to use it.
Okay, thanks very much. That answers that totally. Council, there's a motion on the floor. Been moved and seconded. Chair will call the question. All in favor of the recommendation? Passed unanimously. Thank you. Move on, Denise. We've got that covered. 4Q.
My next report for this meeting is property tax billing and collection report and policy. The policy is attached to today's agenda. Looking back historically through the municipality, Southwest Middlesex, from what I can see, has not had a policy on property tax billing and collection. The most important part, because the Municipal Act is what governs our tax policies when it comes to billing out our tax bills every year, and that is legislative. The collection part is something that's a privilege of council. We currently utilize tax sale legislation in the province of Ontario, and we currently use real tax. I can say in the past, through the financial conversations that we had prior to the Christmas break, it has not been a concentrated focus of the finance team of recent times, and that is something that has become a priority for us, and it will be a priority in 2026. So I felt it was important for staff, felt it was important for council to be aware that we are going to be gearing up our tax collection endeavors, and the policy will set the guidelines so that our ratepayers understand that council are aware of the legislation and the guidelines in which we're going to collect, and allow us to bring that debt down and have more availability for cash flow purposes. In the report, I've gone back to 2021 and I've gone back to the financial statements, and there's a chart that has shown that our taxes since 2021, our arrears of unpaid taxes has gone up by 59.64%. Back in 2021, our balance was $1.2 million on a tax balance of about 6 to 7. So that is a percentage that on the next page was 11.8%. The province give statistics on indicators, and anywhere between 10 and 15% is considered moderate, and anything under 10% is considered a good financial indicator, indicating financial health. So even back in 2021, our arrears balance was a little bit higher than what we would like to have it. But then in 2024, it came in at $1.9 million, which is 16.73%. So now we're getting a little bit over that moderate threshold, and it's becoming a little bit more critical, and council needs to be aware that that's something that staff is going to work on and bring back into a more appropriate balance. Not too sure if we'll get it under the 10% in 2026, but our efforts are going to be focused on that. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Okay, council. Again, the invitation has been extended in regard to revenue collection, property tax billing. Any questions? Yes, Deputy Mayor, please go ahead.
I just wondered how much of that is industrial and commercial, or is it predominantly residential?
Great question, Deputy Mayor. I'm going to say it's mostly residential. There is some, currently all of the properties that we have in the tax sale process, there's a small amount of commercial, no industrial. It's mostly residential. We currently have 2 very large estates. So I think a lot of it is still, again, mostly residential. But I can certainly prepare that information and bring that back at a later date. That's a great question.
Yes, Councilor McGill, please go ahead.
To our treasurer, I wonder sometimes if people are aware of what the penalty is, because I think it says on the tax bill penalty 1.25%, and I asked about that one time and I got told, well, that's 1.25% a month, so it's 15% a year. But a person could look at that tax notice and see 1.25%. They might think it's 1.25% a year. They might not realize that they're really going to get hit for interest. Do you think we could make that clear to people?
Through you, Mayor, to
help?
Councillor McGill, absolutely. And that is a very good point. And hopefully that message is continued to be delivered. So in my past experience, that is a conversation that I do have with ratepayers. So tax collection doesn't start when they're in tax sale position. The treasurer and the tax collector would start having those conversations as soon as they start contacting us about their arrears. And yes, that is something that I do mention to them. And you're right, maybe that is something we can put in our newsletter or maybe some other forum of conversation, the imprint, where we can let them know that it is 1.25% per month. It's also based on 1.25% of a missed payment. So if the due date is the end of February, they are charged on that missed payment as well as the accumulated balance of the taxes. It isn't accruing on principal and interest. It is more simplified, but you're right, it is a large amount annually. And that's where it's important for staff, for my team to start working with ratepayers earlier and entering into agreements. And you'll see in the policy where there is a option for the treasurer to work with ratepayers earlier than the tax sale process so that we can minimize the amount of penalty and interest that our residents are paying, as well as getting that cash flow in a little bit sooner.
Any further questions? Yes, follow up one, Mark?
Yeah, and that 1.25% penalty, that's set by the province, right? We don't have a choice on how much interest we charge.
Yes,
I believe
sir.
it's set by the province.
Yes, sir. That's in the Municipal Act. That
Yeah.
is the maximum that can be charged. I have not done any statistics and I wouldn't want to be held to this statement, but I can't imagine any other municipality in Ontario has anything reduced from that. But that is the maximum that can be charged under the Municipal Act.
Any further questions? One more, Mark.
Okay, if I know some people get their taxes paid by their financial institution, right?
Mhm.
So if that's the case, those ones would be paid, kept up to date all the time, would they not? If the financial institution's paying it?
Yes,
They're not
that
gonna
is
let them
correct.
go behind.
Financial institutions, because they have, so when a property goes into tax sale position, while the taxes are paid current, the mortgage holder is the priority lien status. If it goes into tax arrears, the municipality becomes the first in the registration of priority lien status. So no mortgage holder would or should let the municipality ever register above them. So they will always pay the balance.
Any more questions? Just one more quick one, Denise. Of course, I come from the private sector and we use very often third-party collection practices. There's people in the marketplace that specialize in collection and of course, they don't do it for nothing. They charge a fee. But the municipal, the public sector, we have tools in our toolbox that the private sector does not have.
That's
And
correct.
you never come across the municipality using a third party for collections at all, right?
We actually do. So we use Real Tax. So that is a third party agreement that we have. There are other operators in the province of Ontario. Some have reached out. It is becoming a bigger business for other companies to reach out to the municipalities. We do use Real Tax. It's a partnership though. So that is the additional tool that you're referring to. So in the private sector, you actually sell your accounts receivable and you get paid at a discount. We don't have the privilege to discount taxes. So that's where the difference would be between public sector and private. But we do work very closely. The treasurer works very closely with Real Tax. So it is a joint effort. So when we use Real Tax to go out and do the administration side of the process and make sure that the deadlines are met, the treasurer signs off on the registration process and then communication for payments come back into the treasurer. And then if it's paid in full, the process is just stopped. But we do utilize currently Real Tax. And as new vendors come in, we look at that and see how that benefits us. One of the things that's important to also note is when we do use a third party, such as Real Tax, those costs for collections get added back to the roll. There is no cost to the municipality through operations. It's fully collectible by the property that is in arrears.
Good, that's valuable information. I wasn't aware of that entity, and thank you very much for that. This is interesting. Okay, we'll call the question. All in favor of the recommendation, please raise. A mover in a second. We're going to move in a second for this, please. We got a mover in a second for this recommendation. Okay, second for that, please. Mark. Okay, moved by Haggett, seconded by McGill. Lots of questions were given. All in favor? Carried. And on to 4.3. Oh, is there no 4.3? Oh, bylaws. So, geez, already? That's quick. I am going to just check this agenda. Future meetings. Bylaws are there. Yes, we can the bylaws are there. We'll go through those. The way the agenda is laid out, I just wondered if there were any announcements or comments that could be made, but we'll entertain that perhaps after the bylaws. Recommendation of the Council of Municipality of Southwest Middlesex gives first and second and third and final reading to bylaws 2026-1 to 2026-5. The first is a bylaw to authorize the temporary borrowing for funds in 2026. That was the $2 million that we were discussing. Bylaw for the adoption of a property tax billing and collection policy. Very well done. Bylaw to provide for interim tax levies for 2026. And a bylaw for the adoption of a reserve and reserve fund policy. And a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council. Council will take our time. Is there any concerns on those or any questions that you'd like to ask? It's 5-1 through 5-5. Yes, Mark, go ahead.
Could we deal with 5.4 separately? Because I think there's 11 pages of information there.
Okay.
Might be some questions on that.
Yep, we can do that. So let's adopt 5-1 to 5-5 with the exception of 5-4. Is there a mover and a seconder for that? Councillor McCollum, seconder for that. Councillor Haggett, all in favor? Carried. 5-4. Let's discuss that in a little more depth, and we've got Denise here to walk us through it. There's some information there that we are concerned about. Yeah. Any questions on 5-4? Yeah, okay. Denise, you're comfortable with that? No extra input required on this?
No, I just, one point to note that this policy has not changed since it was brought to council through the special meeting in December. So council, this is the second time, maybe even the third time seeing this particular policy, and it's just formalizing good governance and giving direction for staff on future operations for reserves and reserve funds.
Okay, that clarifies that well. Chair will call the question. All in favor of 5-4 being adopted as a bylaw, please raise your hand. Carried unanimously. Sounds good. Future meetings, January 14th, 2026. Council, the chair, I just hesitate before we adjourn the meeting. It's my personal opinion that it's inevitable that we will have to restructure our debt into longer term financing. And that was brought forward at a previous meeting that I feel it's almost inevitable that we are going to have to debenture some of this debt into longer term so that we can operate more effectively and efficiently. And Denise, is there any pressure on you to get moving on that?
Thank you for that question, Mayor Mayhew. Just as an update to council, I have reached out to Infrastructure Ontario, and as I confirmed before Christmas, this is the first time Southwest Middlesex is going to utilize that potential debenture program. And I have been given access to the program to start filling out the application. Once I start filling out the application, we will go through a credit check, and there's financial statements. There's a lot of procedural work that I need to do to get that started so that we are indicated as a customer. And then once that happens, there will be reports coming back to council through bylaw and information updates as to the amount, whether a project qualifies or doesn't qualify, interest rates. And at the same time, I will get third-party interest rates for short-term borrowing on some of our capital projects. But at this time, I can confirm that the amount still is that between $7 and $8 million that we will require to debenture. And good efforts will be made by myself in the meantime to capitalize on the best rate that
Okay.
that we can receive for the municipality.
Okay, just to make sure that staff are comfortable and the administration are comfortable, there's no pressure on you to get an authorization from council to proceed with that. We're not there yet.
No, not at this
Okay.
time. I have to go through the administration side to see if we can actually utilize that venue.
Okay.
And then I will bring council back into the conversations for their deliberation and direction.
Okay, that sounds good. And, all right, and we look forward to that conversation in the future. The chair will entertain a motion to adjourn. Is someone? Mike, did you raise your hand there? Were you, wait, okay, thanks very much, Deputy Mayor. Councilor Myers, thank you. Motion to adjourn, moved and seconded, all in favor? Carried. Thank you very much, Denise, for setting us up. We've got an operational grid now to have policy and direction. That's good. And we'll get down to the